Like on average, if you had to say like, okay, I typically will sell this many policies per month, or this many appointments or something like that. Like, what does that look like? Are they all DMing you? Are they going to a URL? Are they booking calls?
So I get people who they do the DMs. I get people who book on my Calendly. I get people who go through my landing page. So these are all systems that I've set up that I didn't have before. Because when I first started out, I was getting tons of leads and I was overwhelmed, like to the point where it was like, man, this is too much. Because not having a system, I give people my direct number. So I'm waking up to like 50 text messages, right? I'm doing 2 to 3, 4 policies per day. Putting together systems allows you to streamline those who are serious and those who are not serious. So yeah, you definitely
Yes.
need to have something in place to be able to funnel, those who are really serious about their business.
What is up? Welcome back to the CA Power Player Podcast. I'm your host, Cody Askins, and today's guest, man, I've been following this cat for a minute. I've been super impressed with what he's doing online. Okay, before I bring him in, I am noticing a phenomenon called social selling that is absolutely crushing it in our industry. We're also doing social selling challenges all the time now. We've even created a special program called Social Selling Insiders, where we are teaching agents how to post videos online, just like the guest I'm about to bring in, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, to generate leads and sell more insurance. And I have another social selling challenge coming up within the next few weeks. You can click the link in the description, or you can go to codyaskins.com/SSC to learning more about social media and social selling. Before I bring this cat in, man, I've been crazy impressed. He did 370K in his first full year, focused full-time selling insurance. 547K his second year. Now he's already over 430 for this year, and it's October the 8th of 2024. And he's done all of this without buying leads and focusing on putting out videos online. And he's here to help you do the same. Please welcome to the channel, for the first time ever, by the way, Dipo Adesina. Good to see you, man.
Thank you so much, Cody, for having me.
Dude, appreciate you, man. Did you like when you first started in this, because you didn't take it super serious the first like 6 months, like, you know what I mean? Like it was pretty slow. And I think that's true for a lot of people. Did you ever imagine you would be putting up these kinds of numbers just by mastering social selling?
Never. Like
Yeah.
when I first came into the industry, my real goal was to actually do like 5 grand in like 3 months,
Mm.
just to prove that, hey, this thing works, right? So I never thought it could be something this, massive by simply leveraging social media, which kind of turned out to be the best thing that happened to my business.
Dude, no doubt, man. Oh my gosh, freaking impressive. Also, dude, thank you first of all for being willing to like get involved and help agents as a coach, as a part of our social selling community. That means a
Yeah,
lot.
my pleasure.
Yeah,
My
it's
pleasure.
amazing.
My pleasure.
What would you say to the agent that's like, I don't understand social media, and this is never going to work for me?
So I think understanding it is not really an issue. You don't need to understand it before you actually start taking action. And one of the things you'll also notice too, Cody, is that a lot of people who are now influencers today are people who just basically create basic content to educate people, whether it's in the financial industry, in the health industry, whatever sector. But the bottom line is you just have to put yourself out there, right? The more you do it, the better you become at it. So don't worry about like the first initial phase, because I always tell people, Cody, if I go back to like, let's say 7, 8, 10 years ago, when I first started creating just any type of content, I'm embarrassed to see those type of videos now because I've gotten better over time. You know what I mean? So just put yourself out there. That's the bottom line.
Hey, man, and I, I can relate to that. By the way, man. Like, geez, I hate watching some of my old stuff. It's crazy. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nuts. Also, something you just said, man, that's freaking super powerful. You said you don't need to understand everything to still be able to take action and help people, which I totally agree with. I've always had this philosophy called details delay. My
Mm.
sister actually made 115 grand her first year, and I told her like, "Hey, don't think, just do. Just get after it." Um, what is some advice from you for someone's like, hey, what are some tips for getting started? Obviously, being a part of the challenge, eventually being part of insiders, learning from people like yourself, amazing individuals around the world. But what are some tips to really help them get started?
Get started as far as like putting out content
Yeah, yeah. Maybe they've
or
never shot a video or never posted a video online.
yeah. So, well, the first thing is to understand that you don't need a lot of heavy equipment, right? Most of my content, I would say 80% of my content is done with my iPhone, right? So
Yeah,
that's as simple as it gets. The other stuff is really you just kind of understanding what type of message do you want to put out there, because your message will determine the type of people you attract to your page. So if you're focused on, let's say, maybe final expense or index universal life, that you need to understand that product enough to be able to communicate with people, then attract them to your page. But like I said, the basics is just you understanding that all you need is your mobile device and the comfortability to turn on your camera and say something.
correct. Yes. Yeah. Man, you're right. iPhone cameras are so freaking good nowadays. Also, if they're like, hey, okay, I've got a phone, I've got a camera, I get it. Maybe I'm not even afraid to turn it on. I'll do it. Okay, cool. But then their next question is, what do I shoot? What do I say? Like, how does someone like you who posts like how many videos do you typically post every week?
I would probably say minimum of probably like 10 for sure.
Wow.
I try to do more, but my schedule's kind of hectic. So some
Yeah.
days I might miss, but in some days I can just post like three contents back to back, and because you have to be in front of people's face. That's the thing. So you can't post today and then a week later you post again. Like you don't gain traction that way.
Correct. Correct. It takes, yeah, our team, our goal is 2 to 3 a day. Like you just said, our
Yeah.
goal is 10. We don't always hit it, but our goal is 10 to 15 short videos on,
Yeah.
yeah, all the platforms. What's become, like, I know you do TikTok, you do Instagram, you do Facebook. What's your favorite platform to use and why?
So initially it was TikTok, because TikTok was actually what put me out there. As far as like people knowing me, videos going viral, but then their algorithm changed, right? That, because
Mm,
these platforms are always changing. And a lot of people don't know that. So when TikTok died down, Instagram and Facebook picked up. So now like my primary is Instagram, because it automatically posts to Facebook. So I'm able to generate, I mean, a lot of organic not content, a lot of organic leads from my Instagram page. While TikTok, not so much now as much as it used to be, a couple of years ago.
yep, yep. Also, remind me, Depot and Dylan. I want to have you talk on our next challenge. I'm already loving your energy and dynamic and all the tips you're sharing. Also, if you guys as you guys
Appreciate it.
watch this later, let us know in comments below what you're thinking. So let's focus on Instagram for a second. So you talked about generating a lot of leads. Like, let's just say, how many leads do you anticipate receiving, or do you remember like how many leads you received from social media like last month about the type of insurance you sell?
Honestly, I don't keep track because they come. So it depends on the type of video that I'm putting out. So, for example, I put out a video yesterday on my way out here to Connecticut while I was on a plane, and that video between yesterday and today has probably generated probably close to 15 to 20 leads, right? So
Wow.
the type of content that I put out will let me know whether or not this is a lead type of content. But so here's another thing that people need to realize: when you're trying to build a brand on social media, it's not about posting out content to constantly try to sell something, right?
Mm,
Because people can tell. So you need to come off as an educator, and the more you educate people, the more you attract people to you, because now they see you as a subject matter expert in that particular
yes.
area. So in some weeks, I may not generate anything because all my posts has nothing to do with life insurance. You know what I mean? So it really all depends on my mood and how I'm feeling in a particular day.
Yeah. Is this the one? All the banks are broke. Like you're talking about.
No,
Okay.
so there's another one. Let me see. I think that was the last video that I posted. Um,
Or
so
was it that one?
the
Tax
one that
loop.
said no, the one before that. It's easier to pay off your mortgage in 30 years, in 10
Ah,
years than 30 years. Yep.
that's good.
So once again, if you listen to the video, it's about learning how to use specifically a mutual whole life policy as an infinite banking concept to pay off your mortgage, right? As
Yes.
opposed to just
Yes.
coming direct and say, hey, life insurance, like people are tired of just hearing the basic IUL and all this stuff. You have to be creative in getting people to see the product from a different light than everybody else is talking about it.
Yep. Yep. How much like on average, if you had to say like, okay, I typically will sell this many policies per month, or this many appointments or something like that. Like, what does that look like? Are they all DMing you? Are they going to a URL? Are they booking calls?
So I get people who they do the DMs. I get people who book on my Calendly. I get people who go through my landing page. So these are all systems that I've set up that I didn't have before. Because when I first started out, I was getting tons of leads and I was overwhelmed, like to the
Mm,
point where it was like, man, this is too much because not having a system have people. I give people my direct number, so I'm waking up to like 50 text messages, right? I'm doing 2 to 3 4 policies per day and leaving the house in the morning. I come home to the evening. So putting together systems allows you to streamline those who are serious and those who are not serious. So yeah, you definitely
yes.
need to have something in place to be able to funnel, those who are really serious about their business.
Yeah, because if you wanted everyone, like you could generate an insane amount of leads, but then you got to sift through a ton of people.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and then you wasting a whole lot of time.
Amen. So I think you said 2 to 3 policies a day.
Then now
Oh, got it.
it's not so much because my strategy has changed. I'm not looking for everybody, right? I'm
Mm,
targeting specific caliber of people. And I mean, in a month, if I only do 3 4 policies, I mean, those are pretty good numbers. So
kind of.
unlike before when I first started out, because I was creating content really for everybody, I'm doing $100 policy, $100 a month, $200 a month policy. But now you're looking at more higher premiums because it's more targeted as opposed to the general masses.
Yes, yes, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, and then as far as I like that too, like DMs, Calendly, landing page. Like I've got like it's like a web. Like you've got different ways
Yeah.
to hook someone when you're fishing. Like you've got multiple
Yep.
fishing poles and lines in the water. Even though I can't fish a lick, but that's the
You're right.
that's the concept, right? That's the concept.
Yeah.
What else around social selling or what you do would you like to share with our audience today?
So I personally I wouldn't even call it social selling. Like I don't sell, I educate,
Mm,
right? And when I educate, subconsciously you want to do business with me because people like to do business with experts, not novice, not people just getting started. So when I educate you, they say, man, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like he understands this product. So by
mm,
default, they'll want to do business with me. So I find myself more as an educator, and as I educate you, and on the back end, it turns you into a lead, right? If you are interested. A lot of what I see a lot of agents doing is that they're creating content really, really trying to sell. And because everybody's trying to sell, you're not catching any fish because there's too many,
yeah.
fishermen inside the boat, right? As opposed to you creating your own boat and then just a lot of fish to come to you using different strategies.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a really good point. I appreciate you sharing that because I do agree that there is it can be pitchy or hardcore selly. I love that you're like, dude, I'm putting out content. I'm bringing value, and then
Yep,
I'm
exactly.
I'm trying to attract the people to you know what I mean in your world that align with what you're saying that you're trying to attract, right? And then
Exactly.
when you do, they're going, they're hitting the DMs or the Calendly or the landing page and raising their hand saying, you know what, I would like to talk to you about this. You've also created this brand too where you are dressed very nice, like a lot of dress shirts and suits.
Appreciate
Obviously,
it.
the occasional. This is
Yeah,
where.
exactly. Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep. This one's a hoodie. This one's a t-shirt. This one's a polo. So I guess it changes up. But when you're doing like a lot of your white, like flip chart style, like educational style videos, right? You
Yeah.
dress a little different. Kind of talk about that, man. It looks sharp.
Yeah, so I realized that, when you look a certain way, you attract certain types of people.
Yes.
So because I wanted to change the types of people, the quality of people I was attracting, I need to look a certain way to kind of say, you know what, this is a businessman as opposed to a salesperson. So
Hmm.
now I will attract people who are business owners, right? Or high income earners. Those are my target audiences, right? So when they see me and I communicate in their language very clearly, making things very simple, it makes them easily gravitate towards doing business with me. Now, another psychology to posting online is that you also want to be relatable, right? People need to see you as someone who's like, man, he's also a cool dude. He does normal things. So yeah, I will wear the hoodies. I will, post a picture of me maybe, at a wedding in with my African attire, like just off the wall stuff
Yeah.
that has nothing to do with insurance. But when you look at some agents today, I mean, you go from A to Z, everything is about insurance. After a while, the stuff gets boring.
Yes. 100%. I've seen you do that, by the way. Yeah, yeah. As I've seen your brand, like exactly. That is the perfect example of what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, yeah,
Yep.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Exactly.
Dude, I think that's
Yeah.
amazing. What's your story, by the way? What's your story? Your heritage, your family.
Yep. So, born in the United States, went back home Nigeria when I was around 2 years old. So
Cool.
my parents just took us back home. Stayed there until I was around 11, and came back to the States at that point. Stayed until 15. Went back until I was 17, and
Wow,
kind of been back since then. And now I go back and forth, but I'm definitely very tied to my African heritage and love
I
my
love that.
culture, the whole 9 yards. Yeah,
It's cool, man. How often do you go back?
I like twice, sometimes 3 times a year.
That's amazing. And that's another example of why this is so powerful. And agents need to learn social educating or social selling,
Yeah,
right? Either way, is
exactly. Yep.
you're able to travel back home multiple times a year. Like my wife and I are talking about as an example, to your point, I was telling her like, babe, I've been going like crazy. There's times where I'm freaking exhausted. And so we're going to go,
Mhm.
just rent a place somewhere in like another country for like 10 days in December and let me like
Nice.
unwind a little bit. Well, the cool thing about what,
Yeah,
what we do is you can do it from
you can
anywhere.
do that. Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting you said that, right? Because sometimes I travel because we have businesses in Rwanda, by the way, right?
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm in Rwanda just chilling in my office or at home, and I'm still doing business. Like you're not tied to any geographical location. I mean, I don't know what other business you can do with low entry, but gives you the ability to really create any type of lifestyle or income that you want outside of the financial
True.
industry.
Yeah.
So
Cause you know what? I was thinking the same thing a couple days ago. Cause I was thinking about, okay, well, real estate's really attractive, but you can't just sell houses all over the world whenever you want, wherever you want. Like, you know what I mean? You're
yeah,
typically assigned to a territory or, you have different, places you're selling homes. Like, yeah, yeah. This is a
exactly.
special industry that does allow um, so much freedom, financial freedom, but man, so much other
Absolutely.
freedom too. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
What, well, if they're like, man, I'm intrigued. What is your final thoughts on challenging someone to start getting outside of their comfort zone and leveraging social media?
So many years ago, Cody, I had one of my mentors. I real back then we were doing so many different businesses. Like he could sell anything.
Hmm.
And one day I called him up and I asked him, I said, listen, like, how is it that everything that you do, you make money? And I'll never forget a statement. And that statement, that one statement is what got me to where I am today. He said, Dipo, all I do is create content. And I said, oh, whoa, whoa. And I went back and looked at everything
Mm.
he's done. He's always creating content around whatever product he was trying to push. And he wasn't selling, Cody. He's like, he may just, so he may be trying to sell this iPhone, right? But he's not going to tell you that. He may just be playing around with the iPhone, showing you the different features, talking about it. But subconsciously, like, wait, I want that. Boom, that's a sale. So he created a lifestyle or built his success around creating content. And when he told me that, from that day on, I said, you know what? Whatever I have to do, I have to start creating content. Now, this was back in 2015 or 16, and I had a beat up iPhone 5. The pixel was horrible, but I knew that I had to start doing something. So with my beat up iPhone 5, I started creating content. Like I still have my very one of my very first videos still today. And I look at it like, whoa, this is really bad. But I got started. So
Mm.
to anybody who wants to be an agent who's like, social selling and educating, just get started. Right. When you get started, then you learn along the way and you continue to build yourself up, continue to learn different strategies. And before you know it, like you'll be at the top of your game. But it's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of work.
Amen, dude. So freaking powerful. What a story, by the way, that to share, to close us out, like literally perfectly. All I do is create content. And to your mentor's point, I travel and speak a lot, and I'm always talking about, hey, we've taken 6 brands to 7 figures, and it's
Mm,
entirely because of content, right? It is,
wow.
man. Crazy powerful. Dude, if, you're a special dude. I appreciate you being involved. I love what you're doing. If they want to
Thank
learn more
you.
about you, or speak to you, man, what should they do? Where should they go?
Yeah. All across social media platform, just type in Dipo_Adesina. So that's Dipo_Adesina. And you can reach out to me through, any one of those means.
Amazing, buddy. Appreciate your time, and thank you for being on the podcast. And we'll see you inside of social selling.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thank you, Depot. Also, thank you guys for hanging with us, man. If you're like, wow, dude, this has been incredible. I want to make this kind of money and travel the world and help people by educating through content, then you would love our social selling challenge. Go to CodyAskins.com/SSC to learn more about what we're doing. And then eventually, hey, maybe you'll be hanging out with Depot in one of our communities, learning how this thing works as we are trying to help agents get more consistent and predictable with generating leads and selling policies from all over the world. Either way, thanks for hanging with us. Thanks for listening. And we'll see you on the next episode of the Power Player Podcast.